Hello and welcome to this week's Touch Base on Vatican Diplomacy. I'm Ido Etienne's Vatican Bureau Chief, Alan Holdren, here in studio with Andrea Gagliarducci, our specialist in Holy See diplomacy.
Hi Alan, nice to be here.
Hello Andrea. So this week we're going to speak again about something we often come back to, which is Christian persecution worldwide. A report has just come out from Open Doors International, a group of Christians that specialize in outreach to persecuted Christians worldwide. This report basically, it lays out the most dangerous states to be a Christian in today. What is the most dangerous state, and perhaps some of the top 5?
Well, the top 3 is interesting because the first most dangerous state to be a Christian in is Nigeria. Nobody is speaking about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, but there are a lot of attacks against churches, against Catholics, against Christians in general, from Boko Haram, but also from Fulani movement. And they happen at least once a month, twice a month. So it's strange that it's overshadowed in the media. Second state is the Central African Republic. Central African Republic has an ongoing war. Pope Francis went there back in 2015 to start the Year of Mercy. But despite that, things have not changed over there. So there is an ongoing conflict over there. Nobody's talking about that anymore. And third country is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka mostly because of the Easter attacks that, attacked the 3 churches in Sri Lanka. So that's kind of interesting because nobody's talking about the upsurge of Islamist attacks in Nigeria.
Well, they say that there are 260 million Christians persecuted worldwide in the last year, right? This is in many states of the world. So it's an increase of 6% over the previous year. What's the reason for that uptick?
Well, there are many reasons. One of the reasons is that, there is this so-called appeasemental war. Pope Francis speaks often about appeasemental war. So these ongoing conflicts creates also the roots for discrimination sometimes. Then there is this upsurge of jihadist attacks, mostly in Africa, which is strange, but not as strange as it can seem, but also wherever in the world. Then there are new nationalist movements. For example, nobody speaks about India, but in India is in the top 10 most dangerous places for Christians, because in India there are now a lot of bills that are trying to nationalize India as an Hindu nation, which has never been the fact in India. India has always been considered a multi-confessional nation, but now there is this new movement that is trying to, they say, Hinduize India to some extent. And these new bills are creating discriminations for Christians.
You mentioned how Pope Francis speaks about this World War III in piecemeal. There's different parts of the world that are in conflict. Christians often take the brunt of that. Why is it so surprising to hear how many millions of Christians are persecuted worldwide, to the West in particular? There was that, we've spoken about this report from the Foreign Ministry of England, Great Britain, that looked out into the world, and they actually express the surprise of many for this great level of persecution against Christians, the most persecuted religious group on the planet. Pope Francis even says that never before in the history of Christianity have there been so many martyrs. Why is that surprising?
Well, it's surprising because nobody aligns the facts one after the other. So sometimes you just see that there are isolated attacks. So for example, in Sri Lanka, we just saw the attacks on the churches in Easter, but there were ongoing attacks, small conflicts or whatever. When in France, back in 2016, Father Hamel was assassinated, everybody was surprised. But in fact, if you checked, if we had checked the newspapers, local newspapers in France, we could see that there were a lot of small attacks to churches all over France the month before, even a hacking attack.
So they're trends, but we're just not paying attention.
Yeah, because they're trends. And obviously Christians are wherever, they have schools, they have hospitals, they're very present in society. A Christian is not just a Christian because he believes in Jesus. A Christian believes in Jesus, and believing in Jesus means that you fight for the dignity of every human being. Being there with hospitals, with schools, so changing the culture, shaping the culture is a danger for people.
Okay, thanks. Always fascinating. Thank you, Andrea Gagliarducci. And thank you to all of you for joining along with us. Join the conversation at EWTN Vatican on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. And also, if you want to hashtag Vatican Diplomacy, that's the name of this weekly touch base that we have from our Vatican studios. Thanks again. I'm Alan Holdren, coming to you from our Vatican studios. God bless, and see you next week.